I don't know if this is a topic we want to fully cover or not.
Oh, you're fine.
But maybe. I think we're probably the most qualified to
To
fully
talk
cover
about
this
it.
topic. Minus one person who won't talk to it. Anyway, so when I went, I've read the page a million times, the webpage from Dexerto that like pretty much sanctions this and quantizes us in some way as, this is first, this is second, this is third. There's like an official listing from Dexerto, who is, I don't know, publicizer, publicist. They're publicists, and and on that page, they listed a bunch of things that, a bunch of subathons that had gone on through time, but they listed that Emily was the longest, and I think she was past a year at this point. And they're like, this is how they are, and some people have done like, a house subathon where there's multiple people. Some people have like passed the subathon around to different streamers and stuff like that, and those don't qualify, but they're cool to know about. They lasted this long, they lasted that long. They're basically just like looking, if you're writing a web page or a landing page of any sort, they're looking for content to write about involving subathons, which is what you do. But in those things, they kind of disqualified people for, like, there was somebody that was like manually changing the clock, like they were altering the clock.
Oh, and pausing when they sleep and stuff.
Yeah, and that those people didn't. So yeah, and then when I was actually questioned about the subathon, there was a few questions for the authenticity that I received on Twitter from the representative of Dexerto, and they were asking me like, do you pause the clock? Do you put other clocks on the screen? And a few other things. And I was like, no, never have. I don't. Like,
Do you want me to read the list? I have it
this.
right here.
Do you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Is time added by any method other than automatically through subs, donos, or bits, etc.? For example, do you have or have ever added time manually without anybody doing anything? Is the time ever paused, for example, while you're sleeping? What are the time x donation ratios, e.g., how much time does every sub/dono amount to? After that, we'll be checking in on your stream for a bit to see where we're going to add you to the list. Because that was the message that was sent to me.
That's exactly what they sent me. I don't think they put that last part about checking back in. But it was like almost, I think that's pretty much word for word what they said to me. I think they were pretty much building what the, and that's very interesting, the second one that you read about pausing. And I will pause myself and continuing there, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it is, that's exactly what I got when they sent me those questions for that questionnaire. It was pretty much word for word, and I'm sure they refine it and revise it a little bit as they, as new people apply and they look at the subathons and what's going on. But what would be very strange would be for them to change that stuff, or like change those rules regarding new people being on the list when you, me, Emily have all been so devoted to
strict,
what they're doing. What would be really cool for this little podcast segment? We should get a representative from Dexerto to speak with us and answer some of these questions. Not grill them, not like, yeah, but not that kind of shit, but just like, hey, would you mind laying down
laying the law down,
the exact rules are? Yeah, because if pausing the clock is like okay,
why are we doing it?
Fucking,
but
yeah,
why,
that changes fucking everything.
And the downtime gets me too, because I remember talking to somebody around that time, asking about the downtime. Yeah. They were like, listen, if you're sleeping and something happens, obviously it's out of your control. If your power goes out, we understand how down it's supposed to be and whatever. Like we understand. Don't take like 10 days off or a day off or whatever it is and just come back randomly and be like, well, we're good. Yeah. But I was trying loose. Yeah. So, but the thing was that it was just weird, because I was like, so if it's a natural thing or whatever happens, you can't do that. So something happened on somebody else's, where they were down for like 7 hours, but they were awake, they had their phone and their PC. Their internet didn't go out. Everyone was talking to them. And then they just got it back because their phone died, but they could have went to the PC. So it was super weird. And I was like, if that was me, I don't understand. You know, I don't know if I was gonna be able to be something on that. But it's happened multiple times to multiple people. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like I've cried on my stream, like straight teared my ass off. This was early on. I mean, you remember all my power went out, and I did not know what the fuck I was gonna do. We ended up getting a gas generator with 150-foot cables from that to my PC and my router and my modem in order to turn my fucking PC back on.
Dude, and that is the dedication. That same story from Emily, too. She was talking to Kai. She was saying she just went and got a hotel room. Fuck it, I'll just go get a hotel and do this and do that. Like, exactly that.
Yeah.
I've streamed from my car, so I've had to have like the two the browser source with the clock on one phone, and then the other phone just to have my car powering my phones. We were like telling ghost stories and shit in the dark because all the lights are out in the house. Man, there was like a full Twitch outage. Twitch.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember the Twitch outage of
that shit, and it just kept glitching everyone out.
Yeah, and everyone was like dropping, and all the streams were going, and we streamed through that. Like people, it wouldn't let people get back into your stream, but I was still streaming to like, you know, however many people. But if they left, you couldn't find them on the list. You couldn't get back in. The whole website was being DOSed. DDoSed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fucking crazy things. I mean, and you think about like when you worry when stuff happens, right? Like even me, dude, because I'm in this because I want to prove to myself that I can do this as long as I want to do this, and my community's strong enough to do this with me as long as I want to do this. All these things, right? So when I see certain things like I like watching other people, and I've become friends with like Sweaty over a long period of time, and I mean, dude, there's times when I see his clock, and I'll message his mods, or I'll message him, be like, hey, what's going on? Or his power's out, or something happened, and I'll look at, you know what I mean? Like, cause this isn't. I feel like me and you were probably one of the only ones that were in the top 5 that were currently going that weren't looking at it as a competition. We weren't. I mean, in a way, we're not comparing ourselves as rivals. It's more of, hey, you meet new people every different way. So I like friendships more than rivalry.
Yeah. I agree, man. We can find a million reasons to make enemies with anybody and with people, especially when you're chasing the same goal and stuff like that. But we wouldn't be doing exactly what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to come down and make content with you, like have that when I came down to Oklahoma, and like the moving thing and all that stuff that has benefited both of us largely. Yeah. Your community coming over here, you sharing your community with me sharing my community back with you. It's almost like the raid of subathons because we can't raid.
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I actually didn't know about this tool until like 2 days ago. For like the knocking thing.
Oh, you didn't know about knocking? So when I went down to TwitchCon, because I've done this with somebody, I don't remember whom, but I think it was Casey. It was Casey, yeah, the guy that helped me with my RV. When I went down to TwitchCon, I was hanging out with Kuma Monster, who's a pretty big IRL streamer. He walks around New York City quite a bit, and he had a cosplay for IRL streamers, like IRL cosplay, where he just had a door strapped to his back, and he was walking around, and he was like, "You want to knock?" And I walked up and knocked, and then we did like an interview together and stuff for it, because they don't have like an IRL option really to do it.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a nifty costume. He's a fun guy.
That's funny. Nah, yeah. It's pretty wild, to be honest. And I feel like it's cool to learn other niches, like what other people are doing or whatever it is. Like I pop in your stream all the time, silent as fuck. Like,
yeah. Dude. Yeah.
I just be watching all the time
over there too. I do. It's actually one of the few streams I do like jump over to pretty regularly. I try not to open Twitch because I do this. This is full. By the way, this is like full being honest, like rigorously honest about this. I try not to open Twitch very often unless I'm specifically like going to someone that's using my self promo in the Discord or something like that. Like I like to give people benefits for being in the community using the self promo. But when I open Twitch and I leave it on a screen next to me, I will either do what you are supposed to do with Twitch and pay attention to it, which means I'm not paying attention to my chat, or I will go to like look at the viewers on other people's, and I'll be like, well, why do they have that? And why do they? And it like gets me in my head about how many viewers I have, and like you can see if people are on subathons, and like if I'm there's a lot of times when I'm struggling with where I'm at, and I'm not happy for those people, and I fucking should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I should be.
I can understand
I have
that.
to like keep Twitch like just I'll keep streams up. I have your stream up right now, but I have a tab over it just so that I don't look at I'll either watch it in theater mode or something, because I just get this weird comparison thing that I don't want. I don't want it at all. And it happens, and I see it in myself and other people. I think it's very natural. I don't know if you share that sentiment, but
in a way, I'm not gonna say I've never felt that way. You know what I mean? Like that's lying, to be fair. But I feel like that's almost anybody, unless you're like, I don't know who you'd be if you didn't have like a human reaction to it. But most of the time when I keep mine up, like I'll pop in other streams, but mine's normally on my page because it's easier for me to just quick edit things or quick clip things for me on fucking slobs and shit. But that's the only real reason I ever have it like where it is. But if I go into yours or I go into anybody else's stream, I mean, yeah, like I have the thing set on the side right here and I can see like, oh my God, they have this. Oh my God, that's really, but and it is very touchy because you're like happy for some people and then you're like for others. But I feel like I needed to learn, and I've been talking about this a lot, especially with Kate, that I need to learn to like be happy for like everyone. Because it's really hard thing to do, but because you get into a down place. Like if you were thriving, right? Like super thriving to the point where nothing ever mattered, right? You'd be happy for everyone because it wouldn't be
Correct.
That's how it works. Like you'd be happy for every single person. But because you go through a dark time, you're not. And it happens. And it's a terrible feeling because after you think about that, you dwindle with it for like 30 minutes of that moment, and then you're like, what the fuck? Why am I thinking like that?
Why I just wasted my time.
Yeah.
Doing that. And it's not even just the time. Time is bad enough. It really is, because time is like, holy God, bro. And wasting the energy and flipping that energy on its head to be like, the things that I think about make me exactly what I am in that moment. So if I'm sitting here reflecting on why not me, that's just not the type of person I would want to hang out with. I want to hang out with the person that's like, how do I do this? Oh, how do I do that? Or look at this is awesome. Look how we can grow and get to here, or push to there, or like, let's do this. That's the person I want to hang out with. I'm just not always that person. So I'm trying to meditate on and figure out, how do I get to be that person? And it's so difficult for me because there's always stimuli in some way that's like the chat is moving, and I don't want to ignore chat. I don't. And if someone came in and they said hello, whether they're new, they haven't been here in a while, or it's just their first time today, like I want people to feel welcome and to get what they come here for, which is entertainment, attention, a sense of community, love. Like that's what we're doing. And then sometimes I just need to sit here and make a TikTok, and if I keep looking over, I just can't, it's just not happening. And then the TikTok suffers while the chat also suffers. It's a weird balance of trying to figure out, how the hell am I going to give? And by the way, every single time I say any of this, everyone's like, dude, just do what you got to do. It's okay. And I'm like, but
you don't think that way. We don't think that way. And the thing is with you, right, like you and me, what we've talked about this before on stream, actually. A big thing is we know you probably understand, but we will think you don't understand, if that makes sense. And be like, we have to, it sucks because I do it a lot, but most of the time I can never cover it. Where I have my high moments, right? And I'm the person that you want to see when you come in here. But then there's these moments, like, you got to understand, what we're doing is not easy. We're in here all the time. This is every channel that you're ever going to get on cable. Like, it's going to be Lifetime, fucking murder, fucking his phase channel. Like, you know what I mean? Any channel you could think of is what our emotions are, and we have no time to hide them, right? And we'll try to.
That's tough.
Well, you know what I mean? We'll try, but it's very, very difficult because we don't have a lot of time to ourselves to do that or cope with certain things. And then they come out on stream, and then people will either be very, very sensitive towards them, or they want to be helpful, or there's other people that think you're like trying to make the chat sad so you can like do whatever. And we're not. There's just no space for it in our life to do it anywhere else.
It's exactly that. And it, like anything else, any other emotion involved in not communicating or having to bottle it up, like that's a real thing. And it's a cliche for a reason, bottling things up. When I can't say the thing that's frustrating, or when I'm dealing with something or someone or people or a crowd of something or a difficult thing, and I can't, the vibe isn't good, I can't just go to the side and be like, oh man, you know, Pogo, dude, this sucks, and everyone else doesn't hear it. Like, dude, I'm really struggling with this. Like, what would you do about that? What would you do about this? For me, that's a fucking BRB screen. So now it's like, am I off the screen too much, or am I on the screen? It's very few times in my month where I take time to make a half-hour phone call, hour-long phone call. And sometimes I do it while I'm lying in bed. And I'm on camera. I mute myself, right? And I have that's the way that I run the stuff. Like, I'll just have like something else of my content playing that I've built up from YouTube. But I mute myself, and I'll just be lying there kind of in bed. And like, you know, that's where I get a little bit of my time to speak with people. But other than that, doesn't really just happen for me. I can't just take the time and walk out of the room. The room is the stream, and I am here. And when people come in and they or I get rated or something, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm the second longest subathon of all time. I'm live 24 hours a day, and I'm here most of it. Like, I feel pretty disingenuous if if I just leave and do something else. It just doesn't.
It's even going to the bathroom.
My brain
sometimes.
is so weird. Yes, I was just going to say that. My brain is so weird that like I have to go to the bathroom really badly right now, and I need to fill my water up. And I'm going to wait as freaking long as possible because I don't want to be off camera. It feels weird.
Yeah.
And I don't trust you quite.
And you feel like,
frankly, weird. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like it also feels like this, right? So like you go to the bathroom and then you get like a huge raid, right? And then you're like, oh fuck, well, I'll finish up. I'll be there in a minute. And then you get there in a minute and you're like, hi, I'm this and that. And they're like, are you though? Like,